So let's get it. Here we go.
Come on, now spread that good stuff.
Today's guest is a very special human being who is doing amazing things for the world. He's a keynote speaker, business advisor, president of private and public corporations, an inventor, and a mentor to mentors. He's been referred to as Robin Williams with an MBA, which you'll soon see why. He's got a very long list of accolades that would take up our entire podcast time if I were to read them all. He is also my personal mentor, as well as a trusted and respected colleague and friend. It is an honor to welcome to our podcast my brother, David Corbin. What is up, David Corbin? It's so good to have you here.
Hey. Oh, man, it's so good to I can see you. Can everybody see you, or is it just me? I see that smile, and it just brings a smile. So when you say, what is up is the sides of your face as you're smiling at my mug.
I love it, brother. I love it. Well, we have known each other for, almost, it's been about 7 years or so. And from the moment I met you, I was like, this guy is something special. This guy is just singing his theme song, radiating some good energy for the world and elevating the positive frequency, brother. So it is just so good to have this connection here 7 years later, man. And I have my first question for you is, what brings you joy in life?
Oh, in addition to seeing you, someone who on this planet I've connected so deeply and lovingly with, in addition to that, what brings me joy is daily life. I just flew in last night from going to and speaking at the celebration of life of a dear friend, another dear friend, but this dear friend has graduated to the next plane. He died. And celebrating his life, my gosh. For example, this guy was a motorcycle cop, and in a process of life as a motorcycle cop, he got hit by a drunk driver, and they couldn't revive him. They declared him dead, but then in the ambulance, they brought him back. And this guy, because he had that experience and he had a life of service as a courageous officer and whatnot, he was confronted with the opportunity of helping a little boy who had leukemia, who wanted to be around a motorcycle police environment. He did that, and because of that, he started a little something that you and I know as the Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's this guy's life that I celebrated with a talk at his celebration of life because he was a brother of mine. So what brings me joy is connecting with people. Connecting with interesting people, and I haven't met many people who aren't interesting. And I use the word interesting loosely because some of them are kind of like, what's the technical term, douche nozzles, Some of them are not but they're interesting, and we're all works in progress. So what brings me joy is connecting with God's creatures.
Yeah, brother, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that story. And one thing that I love about you is that you really walk the talk. So you are a keynote speaker, an influencer. You were in a lot of leadership roles, and you walk that talk. It's not like you're on stage and then you walk off stage and you're a different person. It's like, no, that's David Corbin on and off stage. And one thing you created was a bit of a movement called Pass It On. And I'd love for you to just tell our listeners what the philosophy is and the energy behind that movement of Pass It On.
Yeah, so no one does it alone. Right? No one does it alone. It's all about mentorship and connection and collaboration and service and love. It's all about that. So we've come to realize that societies and nations will flourish or perish based upon their ability to pass down applied wisdom from generation to generation. And so we got together and said, well, what is some of the contemporary wisdom that should be passed down from this generation to the next? And we found four major areas that that were components of this. And there was wealth, ideas about wealth, inspiration, success, and happiness. And so we got some cool kids together, and we got some cool kids, and we put them in these little vaults in a bank. Now, this bank is a bank like no other, because in this bank, you could make as many withdrawals as you want and never deplete the resources. We called it the Bank of Sustainable Abundance. And in these vaults were some luminaries sharing ideas on wealth, inspiration, success, and happiness. And so we've got folks from, oh my goodness, from Brian Tracy and Les Brown, great speakers, as you know, and Mark Victor Hansen. But we have Evander Holyfield and actors like Seth Green and Mario Lopez. And I was the host of the movie. It was great. So I got to take you in all the different vaults and stuff. So yeah, it's a cool movie. It's a movie on YouTube right now for free. Absolutely free. The whole movie, 65 luminaries, for free.
Amazing. And I have seen it. It's incredible. So for anybody listening and watching that want to check that out, pass it on. It's on YouTube, 100% free. It's very, very, very good. And, one thing that we really focus on here at the, Spread the Good Stuff podcast is, we focused a lot on intentional acts of kindness and really focusing on the domino effect or ripple effect, or what I like to call the echo effect, which is ultimately the thing that defines us as not who we think we are, but it is the song, the music, and the feeling inside of others' heads and hearts long after we leave the room. And I know that this is an agreed philosophy from your end, and I would love for you to talk about that a little bit. Is there anything that comes to mind when I speak about that? It's very much the energy around, your illuminate and pass it on, and so much of your content. And I just want to throw that topic at you and take it wherever you want, brother.
A lot comes to mind. I'm going to mention a name, Juan Delgadillo, who I never met. But when my buddy, Frank Shankowitz, this founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation, when he was a young boy with a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, which you can see in the movie Wishman. We did a movie biopic about his life, which is trending right now on Netflix, okay? So Juan Delgadillo, when Frank was a young boy, he had problems, and Juan was really nice to Frank, really helped him out. And Juan said, someday you'll pass it on, you'll pay it forward. And Frank, as a young boy, said, but I'm just a kid, I got no money. Juan Delgadillo said, you may not have money, but you can do things for people. You can help paint an old lady's house or fix a fence or something. You could do something. And in that statement by Juan Delgadillo to Frank Shankowitz, when Frank got older, he kept in the back of his mind, in his reticular activator, those filters back here, where those filters where, you never see a red Subaru and then your neighbor gets one and then you see them all over the place. or my daughter needed tires for her car, and that day they ran full page newspaper ads just for me with tires, right? So Juan Delgadillo planted in the back of Frank's head, someday you could help others either with money or with service, but seek and you shall find that opportunity. And so Frank did that by creating the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The point is the ripple that was set forth by that statement by Juan has culminated in over 500 million wishes to kids. Come on. Anyone can be a hero. Set your reticular activator for serving, loving, fortifying someone. It could be one-on-one. It could be 1 in 500 million. But seek, seek and ye shall find. Mic drop.
Love that, brother. I love that so much. Very powerful. And, one way that I like to approach that is, what are we putting on inside of our mental search engine every morning when we wake up? What are we typing into that? Just like on a computer where we go to that search engine and we're typing something in, we're going to get results for that, and probably millions and millions and millions. What is it that we're typing into our mental search engine? In other words, that beacon or that North Star on a regular basis, a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, et cetera. But I'm wondering, what do you do personally? Do you have any tools or techniques around, your mornings, a morning routine or ritual to where you get your mind aligned to be in that place of service, contribution, love, and compassion that you speak about?
Well, I'm going to answer that, but I first want to say how much I love your metaphors. What you're going to Google search for in the morning. Spreading the good stuff. This is an important podcast, my brother. This is an important podcast that you are doing, spreading the good stuff, because you have such unique ways of communicating that touches so many of us, breaks the veneer and goes through the sternum to the heart. So, good on that, man. I love the idea of Googling. I've got that. So let me answer your question. Yeah, I do have a ritual. The ritual builds over time. The ritual I've been doing for the last, dozen years is every morning I wake up and before I even go hit the restroom, because, at my age, I got to pee real bad in the morning, but before I do, and no matter how bad I got to go, I literally get down on my hands and knees, like our Muslim brothers and sisters. I get down on my hands and knees. Now, in a hotel room, trust me, very often I will put a towel down next to my bed beforehand. That's my prayer mat, because you don't want to be putting your head down on that shizzle. Forget about it. Yeah. And so what I do is I'll always give thanks. But now what I do, in addition to getting down on hands and knees, I say 4 things. I say yes, please, more, and thank you. Yes, please, more, thank you. Sometimes I say thank you, please, more. Yes, sometimes, but it's always yes, please, more. I tell the universe, yes. I'm not Googling for anything in particular. I'm merely saying, yes, I will accept and embrace the magnificence you have before me. Prosperity, health, love, success, connections, service, and the like. Yes. Then there's please. Please is usually, hey, David M. Corbin, who grew up a low self-esteem kid, David M. Corbin, please accept that abundance. More, oh yeah, more of it all. I got more house than I want here, but not more than I want. So I open up my desire, as Abraham Hicks talks about, open up the desire and thank you with humility. Thank you. So that's my morning ritual. And let me hit you with my evening ritual. You ready for this?
Please, I'm ready. Bring it, brother.
That happens at 5:00 every night. This is in my living room. And I've got a library, a building in the back of my property that's a library, but this is my indoor library living room. And I call it the Dawn to Dusk Lounge, because I'm in here every morning reading.
Yeah.
Reading. I've probably read about 4,800 pages in the last 4 months. Reading. And then in the evening at 5:00, it's the Dawn to Dusk Lounge, where I'm in here with my bride, and we might have a little sip of some of that brown liquid together. And she sits there and I sit here, and we do our 3. What are 3 things today that we feel blessed by, or we enjoyed, we're appreciative of, and have that word gratitude? But that's a different word. I'm not crazy about that word gratitude. I'm more into appreciation. Nonetheless, we go 1, 2, 3. And not only does it keep us anchored in the gratitude that we set the course from the morning towards, right? But it also keeps us connected. So we know what's been going on in one another's day because we're both busy. She's an architect and a trader, and I don't know what I am, but I'm busy. And so, so it's a beautiful thing. Morning, afternoon, those are the bookends to a big, magnificent, beautiful thank you day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love that because, it's giving those constant touch points and you're baking it into your recipe of life. It's those are
Listen to you. Bake it into the recipe of life. These are Bronkarisms that if you're listening to this podcast, never sit down at this podcast without a pencil, paper, or some place to capture this stuff. Damn, boy, that's good shizzle right there.
It's good stuff. Yeah, that's my mission. Make everything quotable.
Well, memorable. You see, you see, we know that as tension goes down, retention goes up, right? Tension goes down, retention goes up. So humor, artistic involvement, engaging people in different ways so that we assimilate this information. And your right brain delicious metaphors just touch me, and I know touch audiences.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. And so it sounds like with your routines and rituals here, what you're doing is you're bookending the day, as you said, and that's giving you those constant touch points so that you're, it's not like, and another metaphor I like to use is the tuning of an instrument. If we have a guitar that hasn't been tuned in a long time, maybe it's extremely sharp or extremely flat. But what you're doing is you're keeping your mind and your body in tune on a regular basis. So you're doing those regular touch points there to where you're giving that thankfulness, that gratitude, that appreciation, all of those things, so that you're constantly being reminded. It's essentially that you're creating space and time to be thankful, and you're reminding yourself of that on a regular basis. And not just you actually have an accountability partner that is your life partner as well. And that's powerful. I really love that.
Well, the health ritual that you kind of mentioned and is also about staying in the vibration, and taking those daily activities for health and all. Like, so for example, I do supplementation. I make sure they take the right supplements, vitamins, minerals, etc., based upon a blood test and then muscle tested by my naturopath and all. And I do that on a regular basis, maintain the immune system and stuff. Because I was in Arizona, my hosts hosted a party in my honor with a lot of my friends from Arizona. And it was magnificent. It was great. But anytime I'm in a group setting like that, I nebulize. I use a nebulizer with hydrogen peroxide, which will kill any virus, cold, flu, COVID, MERS, SARS, etc. And so I nebulize with medical grade hydrogen peroxide. Well, at this party, which was a few days ago, 2 days later, we get a call that Julie's got COVID. And it's like, oh man, because I choose not to be a vaccine guy. I choose to, build the immune system, and I choose to do the nebulization and stuff. So a few days ago, I got, oh man, that's the closest I've been to COVID. Gosh, I hope, I was clearly exposed. I hope that my rituals, my dailies of taking my supplements and doing the nebulization really worked out. So, and I'll find out because I'm going to Puerto Rico in 2 days, so I have to take a COVID test today anyway, and it's a 3-day result test. So I'm going to stop off to get a same-day result test. So I'll find out, and I hope, I believe, and I'm in the frequency of resisting the energy of that virus. But these daily routines, had I not taken my supplementation, now again, I don't know if it worked. I believe it did. Had I not taken my daily supplementation and doing it every day with a routine, had I not used the nebulizer, like an asthmatic would use with medical grade hydrogen peroxide, and did that for 15 minutes routinely after I'm in a crowd, who knows? Tangible results from these routines, the morning ritual routine, the evening ritual routine. And I'm not a rigid dude, man. I won't do the Calendly where, people get on your schedule.
Yeah.
I don't need no stinking things like that. I like freedom and whatnot, but I'm free to have that freedom because I do those other rituals, which keep me healthy, safe, and secure and confident.
Yeah. Absolutely, brother. And you mentioned one of my favorite words, which is the V word, vibration. And I'm very fascinated with the unseen realm, the energetic realm or spiritual realm, or what we can't see and quantify just with the human eye. Certain, obviously now with science we can quantify things with different instruments and tools, but I really love this realm, and I would love for you just to speak to this realm, because my personal philosophy is that we're all radiating and broadcasting our vibration, our what I call our own theme song or energetic signature that we're putting on life. And I'm just curious, in your experience, what are some things that you do that help to maintain that high vibration and vibrational congruency, which are my words, but are similar to what you were quite possibly alluding to there?
Well, the first thing that I would mention is movement.
Yeah.
Movement. Keep the body moving, right? Keep the body moving. Keep the lymph system flowing. So keep that energy up. That's a beautiful thing, So my particular gig is I used to run. I'm not running as often right now because I've got some neck issues and stuff, but I'm playing tennis at least once a week. I'm playing pickleball at least once a week, and I'm biking at least 4 times a week. So movement. I love when I tell people I'm going to be 69 years old in a few months. And they go, no kidding. Now, they might just be being nice to me. But the truth is, when I look at some of my classmates from high school, I am a little bit different. My vibe is higher and whatnot. So movement is key. I think movement is key.
Yeah.
And thoughts are energy, of course, and your thinking is key and all. So as far as vibration goes, I think when you eat high vibration food, I once had a girlfriend say to me years back, she goes, how do you expect to live when the food that you eat is dead? That was kind of interesting, And she sounded like Inspector Clouseau. She was a magnificent goddess from France. And but it's true, So, eat live food. So for quite some time in a major transformation, I would do live food smoothies. And then there's some high vibe words, in Hebrew, there's Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. There's beautiful words. In Sanskrit, there's Om Namah Shivaya, Gurave, Sachitananda Murtaye, Nichprapanchaya, Shantaya, Niralambaya Tejase. These are Om Shanti Shanti. These are high vibration words. Then yesterday, in the car of my buddy from high school, who I haven't seen, dig this, in 51 years. Wow. It was like yesterday, man. And we're in his car, although when we were kids 51 years ago, our cars were kind of Spartan. This was a $100,000 BMW. And he put on a bootleg CD of John Bonham playing the drums. Oh my God, that is high vibration energy. You cannot be when that's going. It brings your vibe up. Yeah. Right? It's brain entrainment. Right? Brain entrainment. You want to have that music going. Like your music, when you do the I don't know, it's Afro-Caribbean drumming and stuff like that. Yeah. You can be sitting there, but every one of your cells is dancing its ass off.
Yeah. I'd love to delve in that a little bit more, because that high vibration and how we sort of assimilate to that. And in the musical realm, it's referred to as sympathetic resonance, when something else begins to vibrate based upon something that isn't touching it physically, right? And but I'd love to delve into that a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about this sympathetic resonance in your realm. You just lit up like a yeah.
So it's not just in the music world, brother.
Yeah,
it's in the law of physics. You pluck on a bass note on an electric bass, that snare drum's going to go bzzz. That's the law of sympathetic resonance. Yeah. There was a commercial years ago with Ella Fitzgerald singing, and a glass broke at the other end of the room, And so if there's that energetic thing, what is the energetic output of our thinking? Yeah. Now, the science of heart math, check it out, heart math. They measure that we put out a vibe from our brain to others, and we put out X. But they also measured we put out vibes from our heart, and it's 6,500 X. Wow. Holy mackerel. I forget the unit of measurement that they measured these erg energy, but it's like, whoa. So, I mean, I knew thoughts are things and you're sending stuff out, but it's coming out even more from the heart math. Crazy stuff, man. Yeah, it's out there. So, we talk about the law of attraction, which is very much misunderstood, but there is science through the law of sympathetic resonance. So it's really amazing when you stub your toe in the morning and you go, oh man, darn it. Oh, this day, I'm going to have a lousy day today. I just know it. And surprise, surprise, surprise. You have a lousy day. You put out that energy, you will attract the like energy. But on the other hand, when I used to tell my son Benjamin, when he was 3 years old going to Montessori, I go, Benjamin, something wonderful is going to happen today. He'd go, what? I go, I don't know yet. Dad, you come home, you tell Daddy what it is when you come home, but something wonderful is going to happen today. And he'd come home and what was he looking for? What did he attract?
Yes.
And usually it's something really cool. Like, well, I wanted the red lollipop, but I got the green one, but that was cool too.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for referencing that, because we've dialogued a good bit about kids and fatherhood and things like that. And yours are a bit further down the line than mine, but I love talking about that. You have some fantastic content around the platinum rule and some other things that I'd love to unpack if we can get to it. But one thing I wanted to ask you here that's on the forefront of my mental search engine here is, what do you do? Do you have any tools or techniques that you do to overcome those moments when you stub your toe and you use those very PC versions of what you would normally say there? I appreciate that. But do you have any tools and techniques that you do to overcome those moments and then shift your vibration back to a place of, in that law of attraction form, attracting those higher vibes?
One of the things that I learned years ago as we were studying pain mitigation, changing, as you know, I started a business over 15 years ago. It's been in revenue every year since, where we put prescriptive healing music in hospitals and public spaces, which music is a vibration, to shift the human condition, as it were. Because, in women's imaging, it's nerve-wracking. So we curate the music for stress reduction and relaxation. And surgical waiting, they might be there for an hour or 3 hours. So that music is curated for time and space perception. But what I do so music is important, but what I do in real time is distraction. Distraction is a very viable, magnificent form of pain reduction. Distraction, shift, change of state, right? Shift, change of state. And then there's something I learned years ago, which is convert your frustration into fascination. Frustration into fascination. Oh man, this sucks. Wow. How does that work? How does that toe have a direct communication to my brain, to my mind and stuff? Now that's distraction. Wow. I'm fascinated by that, Or if somebody's being kind of a butthead and you're not frustrated, you go, wow, I wonder what happened in his day that caused him to react that, or in his life, or I wonder what his child, you just shift it, man. Frustration into fascination. Instead of getting caught up in it, then be objective of it. And that in that dissociation is a very cool thing. Now, that's if you can catch yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Keyword if. No.
So or when, because there's when the doctor wants to check your heart, they'll give you a stress test and they'll have you go on the exercise cycle or whatever, or the stairs, and they bring everything up to a real peak state, and they want to know how long it takes for you to recover. Well, we also have an emotional component of that, and so when your emotions go high, how long does it take for you to have an emotional recovery rate? If you don't have a strategy for that, good luck.
Yes. And I love that, because one thing that I've learned in parenting here, for the 6 years that I've been a parent, but two very, 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 very spirited boys.
Yeah.
Is there is not only an anaerobic threshold that we can hit, but there's definitely an emotional threshold that we can hit. And that's kind of what you're referring to here.
But there's an unlimited love threshold.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
There ain't no ceiling on that mofo. It just gets higher and higher and higher. Now, however, their appreciation of daddy is in part and their self-esteem is part a function of daddy's emotional recovery rate.
Yes. Absolutely. And now that we've transitioned into parenting a little bit, I love to talk about parenting because that is such a direct way that we pass our legacy and significance on through others. If you don't mind, would you talk a little bit about, because I interviewed you, this has been a couple of years now, but for my amazing wife, Cindy, for her book, 52 Creative Ways to Connect with Your Kids, I interviewed, and you're featured in that book, which just came out recently. And you shared an amazing story about you and your son, about the platinum rule. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, there's so many groovy stories. That's one that we put in Cindy's book. And Cindy's book is crazy. 52 hacks, right? 52 ideas, and all in one thing. I happen to like Cliff Notes, right? I mean, I like to get the nuggets, the essence. I mean, I'll read big book, but Cindy's book is really cool because it's what I call learning point density high, right? It's really a treasure trove. So I know I'm doing a shameless commercial for that, but it's really that good. And I've got to get more to gift out and stuff, and I will. So, but anyway, so platinum rule. So, I'm a kind of guy who's like, hey, let's go do this, and okay, let's go do this, and my buddy says, in Puerto Rico, he goes, come on over to Puerto Rico. I went, yeah, let's go to Puerto Rico. Now, my son, when I would say to him, hey, Ben, let's go to the zoo, because I'm that guy, I'm expecting him to go, yeah, Daddy, let's go to the zoo. and he'd go, okay, what time would we be leaving? I don't know. Clean your room, brush a couple of your teeth somewhere. Let's go boogie. He's like, well, all right. Would we be having lunch there? Yeah, they got restaurants there, Benny. come on. And he said, well, am I going to be, you know what? I don't want to go. So he and I approach things differently. Yeah. I'm what's called a high I, let's do make it. He's a cautious thinker. And when I learned that, because I did do some testing, it was a Formax test, it was kind of cool. I found out he's a cautious thinker. So I learned to adjust and adapt to my baby boy. I'd say, Ben, I'm thinking about going to the zoo. Would you like to go with me? He said, yes. I'd say, well, if you were to clean your room and brush your teeth and get dressed, that might take about 10 or 20 minutes. We can have breakfast and leave by 10 o'clock if that works for you. He'd go, yeah, because I'm talking his language.
Yeah.
We'll have lunch there. But, son, we're going to need to leave at 3 because you want to do, I know your homework and then take a bath. So I shifted my style to match his style. And in doing so, because I knew he was a cautious thinker and he liked organization, I said, as a dad, what could I put in front of him that he might take to really well? So karate, chess, piano, and I wouldn't have known that. I would have put him in different. He to this day, he's amazing chess guy. He took 2 black belts, and that's how he earned his money in high school before he went away. And he is now Dr. Benjamin Corbin, Professor Benjamin Corbin of piano.
Yeah.
And it's all about me. No, it's about knowing maybe to put this in front of him.
Yeah.
And then he picked it up. So don't ask how smart is your kid. Ask how is your kid smart? And then don't do the golden rule, do unto others the way you want to be done unto, which is, come on, Benny, we're going to run. No, platinum rule, do unto others the way they want to be done unto. That's not just for parenting. That's for leading, managing, selling, connecting, serving. That's that platinum rule.
It's amazing, brother. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's a powerful, powerful, powerful work, not only for parents, as you just said, but for so many industries across the board and just human connection in general. Well done, brother. That's really powerful. Now I have a question. Who is one of the most influential people in your life?
There's so many.
Yeah.
I had a business partner named Brian Tracy, who's just a marvelous speaker, one of the best. And he's got a very high level of integrative complexity where he took from physics and economics and personal development, spirituality and business leadership. He was able to really bring that down into really good, usable nuggets and chunks. So he's one of my most significant mentors in life. I'm not really hard pressed, so I'll just leave it at that. I'll say Brian.
Yeah. One thing I love to focus on here is, that echo effect that we were speaking of earlier, and how, oftentimes our mentors, and you've been a fantastic mentor to me, how that energy and time and appreciation and, focus radiates on through the people that they are touching. And so, that's one thing, I like to focus on, because I can feel, just as you speak of Brian Tracy, I can feel his presence here, like his legacy is living on into my ears here, into my heart, and all of the listeners' hearts as you sing his praises.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is a ripple. It is that solid gold thread in the tapestry, of life. And I think of people, so many names come to mind that I've had the honor and blessing of mentoring, who are doing they're spreading such good stuff, and, one of the guys I mentored produced a movie based on another guy who I've mentored, but who also mentored me. And just the connection, and then introducing you to Billy, for example, a beautiful spirit, and you're a beautiful spirit. And then I get a text with a picture of the two of you saying, Uncle D, we want you to see that we are united. And I'm old, you see. I'm old. Well, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to have that perspective, to watch this next generation of mega influencers developing and influencing as they develop and developing as they influence. And it's the eensy beensy spider going up the water spout to greatness. We as a culture and a society. So there's a Yiddish term. There's some words that Yiddish has got some great terms. The word is kvel, Kvell, and it means bubbling up with such joy and pride when you see your child or when you see those who you mentor, your proteges, doing good stuff. I'm kvelling.
Yeah, brother, that's amazing. And when you can receive that back, and this is a reminder to anybody listening here of someone that has touched your life in a positive way, to reach out to them and share that with them, to just thank them. It's like, hey, I just wrote this book and I want to thank you because you did this thing, or, hey, I just, it can be anything at all. We don't have to wait for a significant moment in our lives. It can just be a daily message that today I'm thinking of you and I want to thank you for taking the time and pouring that love into me.
I'm looking for my cell phone to show you a text that, I shoot those off.
Yeah.
With such happiness, just shooting off, and I love you, or wow, I think the one I worded yesterday was, I can't overstate how much enjoyment I have watching you two as an example of a magnificent, loving relationship.
Yeah.
It feels good sending it, and I know it felt good receiving it.
Now, what if, and maybe you already do this, but I just had a thought, what if that was, coming back to that older metaphor that we were sharing, what if that was baked into our recipe of life? What if there was a daily 5 minutes or 10 minutes that we dedicated to purely sending people messages, doing these intentional acts of kindness that can be, seemingly small and insignificant, but could have this massive ripple effect on others. I mean,
it does, man.
Yeah.
I've habituated that, but in order for me to get to that point, I would put 4 pennies in my left pocket. And every time I would send something off, I'd take 1 penny and put it in the other. And at the end of the day, if I had only 3 pennies in my right, it was like, oh, okay, well, I sent 3, but I meant to send 4. The next day, 4 pennies in the pocket. Wow. There's only 1 on the right. Yeah, well, I got busy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but it builds that. So you start building in a little bit of love muscle memory.
Yes, I love that. The love muscle memory penny technique. It's powerful.
Go. Wait, hold on. Circle R, TM, boom. Don't do it unless you pay me for it.
I love it, brother. I love it. All right. So I want to ask you this as we wrap up our interview here, and, you and I could talk for days, but I want to wrap up here and just ask you, how do you hope to inspire our listeners today?
Well, I know that I'm pointing. I know you out there, you got something, and I did inspire you. The energy that came through me from others hit you, and I know it landed on you. So I know we've already done that.
And so it is. It's been done. I love it. I love it. And one philosophy I live by is less information, more integration. And so for any of the listeners out there today, if you've heard something, which we know you have, we just established that, as we know you've heard something that has moved you in a positive way, please, please, please take action on that. There's so many amazing nuggets here, and amazing techniques that my man, DC, David Corbin has thrown down for us. So please pick them up. watch this again, share it with somebody who you believe would benefit from this. This is a community and a podcast and a movement to spread more good stuff in the world. So make sure to do that. And before we wrap up, I just want to thank our sponsors. Oh, wait, we don't have any sponsors yet because we just started it. If you would like to be a sponsor, reach out to us and help us spread the good stuff far and wide. Because as my man David said, we can't do this alone. It takes a village. It takes a tribe, a community, an entire, human existence here to elevate the positive frequency of the world together. So again, I want to thank my man David Corbin for being an amazing shining light, illuminating the good in the world and certainly spreading the good stuff. And David, one more time, how can our listeners find you and your work?
Well, I have no interest in communicating with anyone. Leave me alone. I'm going to be in the back smoking a cigar. So and stay off my lawn. Anybody has any questions or whatever, David at davidcorbin.com. That goes right to my cell phone. And I hope, I know we've touched people, Bronkar, but until they take action, like you were talking about, we haven't moved them. They move themselves. We goose, inspire, educate, motivate, but movement takes their action, because none of what we've shared here today is of any value. It's useless unless it's used. So I hope people do take action on some of these ideas because it is a mega ripple effect.
Yes, brother. Yes, brother. Thank you for being an incredible human, my friend. And thank you, everybody, for listening today. If you're not already a part of our community, make sure to join us at spreadthegoodstuff.com and get out there, my friends, and spread the good stuff. I'm Bronkar Lee, your host, the Good Stuff Guy. Thank you again, David. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing day today.
Spread that good stuff. That good stuff. Come on now, spread that good stuff.